All right, welcome back for another deep dive. You know how this works. We gather up a whole bunch of research and then try to figure out what it all means.
Exactly.
And today we're going to be looking at something that's kind of unusual in Kardec's Spiritism.
Yeah?
The symbolism of the vine. Now, Spiritism doesn't usually, they don't really do symbols.
Right.
So this one is especially intriguing, and we've got a couple of sources to work with.
Yeah.
We're looking at a section from the Videra Espírita Encyclopedia,
Okay.
and then also pulling some stuff from the Wikipedia entry on Kardec's Spiritism.
That's good.
So hopefully we can put all this together.
Yeah, and what makes it even more interesting, I think, is this is not just any old image.
Oh.
This is the only illustration that Kardec actually used in the entire codification of Spiritism, those 5 core books that he put together.
Yeah.
This is it. This is the one. You find it in the Spirits book, and it's supposed to represent the work of the Creator.
Interesting. Okay, so let's break down this analogy a little bit because the source actually gets pretty specific.
Okay.
It says that the branch of the vine represents the body.
Yeah.
The juice or liquor of the grape represents the spirit, and the grape itself represents the soul. The spirit linked to matter. It's almost like, sometimes you feel like your spirit is dragging your body down or your body's limiting your spirit.
Yeah.
But they're not really separate things.
Yeah.
It's all intertwined.
Right, yeah, exactly. And that's really, I think, what the core elements of Spiritism is, that there's this interconnectedness between the physical and the spiritual.
Yeah.
They're not separate. They're not compartmentalized. It's all part of who we are.
And the source mentions this idea of work that's tied to the vine image.
Okay.
It actually says, man refines the spirit through work, and you know that it is only through the work of the body that the spirit acquires knowledge. So it's not just about, meditating. It's about every choice you make, every challenge you face, refining your spirit like a blacksmith.
Like a blacksmith, yeah. Hammering away at a piece of metal to shape it into something stronger and more beautiful. Yeah, it's a great analogy. In Spiritism, work isn't just about our jobs or what we do to earn a living. It's really about the effort that we put into our spiritual growth. Every experience, every interaction becomes this opportunity for learning and evolving.
Yeah. But wait a minute. If Spiritism is all about kind of moving away from religion,
right?
Why use a symbol that is so strongly tied to religion?
Well, that's where I think things get even more interesting. The Videra Espírita Encyclopedia suggests that the grape was probably chosen specifically because of its strong connection to Judaism and Christianity.
Really?
Yeah. It's like it almost links Kardec's work back to those older traditions.
Interesting.
And that may have stirred up some debate within the Spiritist movement. People might have been resistant to that idea of connecting Spiritism back to religion.
So are we saying then that maybe the spirits who were guiding Kardec intentionally chose this image to make that link?
It's a possibility.
Yeah.
It's like they wanted to build a bridge between these different worlds.
Yeah.
And I think that connection becomes even more intriguing when you think about all the symbolism of the vine and those older traditions.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about some powerful imagery here, right?
Yeah.
Moses and the spies coming back from the promised land with grapes.
Yeah.
Jesus saying, I am the true vine.
Right.
The miracle of water turning into wine at the wedding at Cana. Each one of those examples, just layers and layers of meaning.
Yeah. And it's not just the historical context, though. When you connect it back to Spiritism, it really paints a powerful picture of spiritual evolution.
Right.
You think about that water turning into wine.
Yeah.
It's like taking something simple and basic.
Right.
And over time, it becomes something complex and refined. And
yeah, it really highlights that journey that we're all on, that constant striving for greater spiritual maturity. It's not about reaching a final destination. It's about the continuous work of refining our spirits through all of our experiences.
Okay, so let's be real, though. Sometimes it doesn't feel like we're turning into fine wine.
Right.
It feels like we're just kind of slogging through life.
Sure.
So how does this work idea actually play out, in our day-to-day lives?
Well, that's where the rubber meets the road.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that every choice that we make, every interaction that we have is shaping our spirit.
Yeah.
Right. Did we react with patience or with anger? Did we choose kindness or selfishness? those everyday moments are opportunities to really work on ourselves,
Right.
to refine our character, and to become more aligned with our higher selves.
So it's not just about the grand gestures or like going on an intense meditation retreat or something. It's the little things, the little choices that we make every day.
Exactly. Think of it like tending a garden.
Yeah.
You don't just plant the seeds and then walk away.
Right.
You have to weed, water, nurture the plants consistently to help them grow.
Yeah.
And I think spiritual development is much the same way. It requires that consistent effort,
Yeah.
that attention and care.
I like that analogy. So we're not just passively waiting around
Right.
for enlightenment to strike us.
Exactly.
We are actively engaged in cultivating our spirits through our experiences. But here's the thing, though. Kardec didn't actually explicitly call this a symbol.
Right.
So why has it become so important in Spiritism?
Yeah, that's fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah.
Even though it wasn't intended as a symbol, it's kind of organically become one for many people within the movement.
Right.
And I think that just speaks to the power of imagery to resonate with us on a deeper level than just words alone sometimes.
Right.
A powerful image like that vine can express complex ideas in a way that words sometimes struggle to do.
Yeah, it's like it bypasses the logical part of your brain and it just taps into something
Right.
more intuitive, more primal, I guess you could say.
Yeah. And it helps us connect with the meaning in a way that feels very personal.
Yeah.
And, it's interesting if you look at how that image has been presented over time,
Oh.
The placement and even the style of that vine illustration actually changed across different editions of the Spirits book.
Huh.
It's like Kardec was emphasizing that it's not about the literal image itself, it's about the deeper meaning that it conveys.
So it's not about clinging to the specific form, it's
Right.
about grasping the essence of the message.
Exactly.
So, which leads us to, what does all this talk about vines and grapes and spiritual work?
Yeah.
What does it mean for us, the listeners? Why should we care? Yeah, it'd be easy to get lost in all the symbolism, I guess, but the real question is, what are we supposed to do with it?
Right.
Like, how does this apply to us?
Yeah, that's the heart of it, isn't? Remember that quote that we talked about earlier?
Yeah.
Man refines the spirit through work.
Right.
This vine, it's not just a pretty picture. It's a call to action. It's a reminder that we're not just passively, sitting around waiting for enlightenment to strike. We are actively involved in shaping our own spiritual development.
So it's like we're not just the grapes on the vine.
Right.
We're also the gardeners.
Exactly.
We have a responsibility to tend to our own growth.
Exactly. And it's not just about our own individual growth either.
Oh, okay.
Think about it. Each grape contributes to the richness of the wine.
Yeah.
So each of us, through our own efforts to grow and evolve, we're also contributing to the evolution of humanity as a whole.
Wow, that's a powerful thought.
It's
like we're all connected through this invisible vine.
Yeah.
And the work that we do on ourselves, it benefits everybody else.
It's a beautiful image. And it gets right to the core of what Spiritism is all about. Our individual and collective journeys of growth, transformation, connection to the divine.
Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive, let's leave our listeners with something to think about.
Okay.
The source tells us that this vine image represents the work of the Creator.
Right. So if that's true, what does that say about our role in our own spiritual development? Are we just along for the ride? Or do we actually have an active part to play in shaping our destiny?
That is the question, isn't it, that each of us has to grapple with.
Yeah.
Are we simply passengers? Or are we co-creators of our own lives and the world around us? This vine reminds us that we're not just products of circumstance,
Right.
We are active participants in the unfolding of our own lives and the evolution of humanity.
Yeah, it's a powerful image to hold on to.
It is.
And maybe that's the true message hidden within this simple but profound symbol of the vine.
Yeah.
We're all connected. We're all in this together.
Right.
And we all have a role to play in creating a more beautiful and compassionate world.
A message worth pondering, worth exploring, and worth putting into practice in our daily lives.
Absolutely. Well, that's it for this deep dive.
Okay.
We hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, keep seeking, keep growing, and keep connecting.
And remember, the journey is just as important as the destination.